Hello and welcome to the Homeless Consultant channel. My name is Paul B. I am the Homeless Consultant. And today the day has finally come for me to talk about Dakota County, Minnesota Astateophobia. Remember, Astateophobia is the totally irrational, visceral fear, hatred, loathing, contempt, disgust for the homeless. Whereas normal, humane people feel compassion and empathy for the homeless. Hating someone for no other reason, none whatsoever. The only reason you hate this person and fear them is because they don't have a place to live. And you got to ask yourself, what kind of people exhibit that kind of behavior? Well, I'm going to show you. Because Dakota County, Minnesota is a hotbed for this kind of thing. And I'm missing one thing I need. Here it is. Alright, here's what happened. Yesterday, while I was on Twitter, I posted a tweet, or I retweeted something that Dakota County had put on their Twitter. It said, "Need help coping with the coronavirus," and some link. If you watch my videos, coronavirus is not what we have to cope with, folks. There's nothing there. There's a disease, just like there's all kinds of diseases every year. This is not the plague. It is not killing off masses of people. It is not the threat that they say it is. Not even close. Not even in the same genre of threat or risk. But you have to be a responsible citizen who turns off the television and does some research to figure that out. They're not doing that. So I retweeted it and I put in a message there and I said, well, when you say coping, do you mean like me as a homeless person having to cope with losing my job, being the only person in my workplace who lost her job because I'm the only one who cannot work from home because the governor of Minnesota just arbitrarily dictated that? You mean coping with that? The most vulnerable person in your society, your governor puts in a position where he's basically killing that one person off, not the other 99 people I work with. You mean coping with that? And then I also put in there, do you mean coping with the Dakota County employees who, in vehicles that have the Dakota County logo on them, routinely harass me while I'm on county property? Come up and drive around me and intimidate me, slowly staring at me, pull in next to me and just stare, doing everything they can to intimidate me to get me to leave. Do you mean coping with that? That was my tweet. Shortly after that, I shut things down and I drove to a different parking lot very near, right adjacent to the one I was in when I did that tweet. And I decided I got to try to relax. I wanted to watch a film. In my car, the only films I have, oddly enough, are a double feature of The Muppets, if you can see that, Muppets from Space and The Muppets Take Manhattan, and Network. If you have not seen Network, folks, I urge you to take this time to watch Network. It's one of the most important films ever made. It will help explain why this coronavirus scare is actually succeeding when there's no actual threat that even approaches the magnitude of what they're talking about. This movie, back in the 70s, told you how that was done. Oddly enough, this film also tells you how to put an immediate stop to it as a responsible citizen. But people aren't doing that. But you know what? I'm so just stressed out from this and so sick of this humiliation, this embarrassment of watching my species behave this stupidly, falling for a scam like this without even questioning it. I watched The Muppets instead. I've never seen them. I've never seen either of these. I wanted to see The Muppets Take Manhattan. So I watched The Muppets from Space first, and then I watched The Muppets Take Manhattan. I got about 2/3 of the way through that. And let's see, at some point, no, I never did leave there. What am I saying? I sat in the same parking spot, the same one I tweeted from. I'm not thinking straight. Now, if you're not aware of it, you know, back in March of last year, someone in Dakota County government said that homeless people cannot sleep at Walmart, private property where the proprietor allowed us to sleep there. Didn't have a problem with it. But someone from government said you can't sleep there because they just don't want anybody to see us. They don't want Minnesotans to realize that there's 10,000 homeless people. Out of sight, out of mind. Let them die. Let them die. but we're not going to let the Minnesotans think about it, because it might make them uncomfortable, you see. We'll see more about that in a moment. Since I never take vacation, I work responsibly. I'm the most reliable employee anyone's ever going to have. So I had all that vacation, all my vacation time I got paid for just after Christmas. So I went out, because when they stopped me from sleeping there, since I couldn't sleep anymore, as you watch my videos, I had a coffee in my hand and my computer, and I dozed off because I can't control when I sleep anymore. I have to let nature take its course. And it fell down and poured coffee into the motherboard and destroyed my computer. So since March of last year, I have not had a computer except for some dinky little netbook that doesn't do anything. Barely lets me connect to the net. Well, after Christmas, using the money I got from never taking a vacation and working instead, something that the house people don't do, they take their vacations. I work. And I did that before I was homeless, by the way, just so you know. I did take some vacation, but I didn't max it out. I got a computer, though, with that money. It's a little bigger than I wanted, but I couldn't find one with the kind of power that was the size I wanted. So I've got this computer. And what I do is I take these clips and I put them on I have a steering wheel cover here. I put the clips on the steering wheel cover, and then because this computer's so thin, I had to get a thin one and I had to pay a premium for it. I can just put the computer right on the steering wheel. And I can watch it, and I'm free. I can type, I can have the mouse on my lap and things like that. So that's what I had. I had the computer up here on the steering wheel watching. By that time I was watching Muppets Take Manhattan, about 2/3 the way through it. I was feeling really tired, so when it was over, I had planned to put the seat back and just doze off. And by the way, in case you aren't aware of it, I don't know if I mentioned it, my seat, about 1 out of 5 times when I move my seat back and forth, which I do more than 5 times a day, it blows the circuit breaker. So I had to spend $10 for a whole box of fuses. Every day I have to change the fuses in there. Those fuses are $1 a piece. Do the math on that. I've said all along, being homeless costs me more money than being housed. I spend more money on bills and stupid stuff like that. I spend more of my money on survival and paying bills since I've been homeless than I did when I was housed. That's why what Governor Walz did to me is such a threat, because I can't pay these bills anymore. I have no more income. I have nothing. And when the day comes and I'm out of money, wherever this seat lies is where it's going to sit. If it's sitting back 3 feet, that's where it's going to stay, because I won't be able to earn another dollar to get another fuse. This window doesn't open. That's why it is about 75 degrees in here right now. Humid, by the way. I have to open up the door occasionally to just let some air in. So I'm watching the Muppets Take Manhattan. Almost done, thinking about dozing off after that. Here comes a pickup truck. This is a completely empty parking lot. The parking lot next to it is empty. The parking lot next to that is empty. It's a stay-at-home order. Well, there's cars everywhere, but there's nobody here. It's a government building that's closed. I'm way out in the back where there's no exit, no access to the road. There's no conceivable reason why anyone would go back there, period. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. This pickup truck pulls in, and when you just get a feel for which vehicles are going to head your way and which aren't. I could tell this one was. I grabbed my camera next to me, turn it on, and I film the computer to show the time, 6:37 p.m. I put it over to here, and I'm going to follow the truck, but he's already gone. So I pan it over back to the right, and look at that. They're already right next to me. They made a beeline from entering here to pulling in right next to me, and they even parked right over the lines. Didn't even obey that rule. Housed, responsible Minnesotans can't even obey that rule. I can't see who's in that window. You got this big, tall, brand new truck with darkened windows. And I've been here before, folks, so I did the only prudent thing, which is to get the heck out of here as fast as I possibly can. So I take my headphones off, I throw them down, I start the car, I back out, I'm filming, I film their license plate, in case that's needed, and I can't do anything with the computer. The computer's sitting up here and I can't turn my steering wheel. But then all the cables got caught on my stick shift, so I'm holding the camera and I had to literally throw my brand new computer, I had to throw it on the floor. It ended up on its side, tipped upwards. I had to throw it on the floor to get away for the sake of my safety because of this person. And then I tore out of there as fast as I could, and I went to the parking lot adjacent, turned around and faced this direction so I could keep my eyes on that threat. And I started filming again. Look what happened. As soon as I got there and I put up the camera again, the truck starts backing out. You tell me, were they there for some other reason other than me? Because they make a beeline in here, they park right next to me, and then as soon as I leave, they back out. You tell me, were they there? Was I the reason? If I had not been there, would they have done that? Would they have gone and parked in that parking spot? Clearly, this had something to do with me. This is just the sheer intimidation I have to deal with from these people. So I film it. I'm going to speed up the film 5 times to 500% because look at what they do. They do the little circle thing like these people do all the time where they come out around me and they circle my car and they do weird figure eights around me. It's an intimidation tactic. It's their way of saying, homeless person, get out of here. We don't want to see you. We don't want anyone else seeing you. You make us uncomfortable by your very existence. So look at what they do. Then they pull in, they stop in front, which is the normal place you would park if you were going into that building if it were open. That is the normal parking spot you would park in. And then someone gets out of the vehicle. I film it, I zoom in, but I can't see on this tiny screen who it is. It kind of looked like a female, but I couldn't really tell. Well, at the time, I couldn't really tell. They walk over to where you would normally they have like a drive-through thing for putting videos and books back, the drop-off at the library. Then they walk back to their truck. Okay? The thing is, they walked, as near as I could tell, it looked to me like they walked farther than that deposit box, and they had nothing in their hands anyway. So what in the world was that all about? So now I'm thinking, well, maybe this is someone who wants to break into this place or vandalize it. So I'm keeping my eyes on them, and I'm going to keep my camera on them. Because I protect that place. That place doesn't protect me, as you're going to see later, but I protect that place. I protect those people who work there, their vehicles when I'm there. Nothing's going to happen to their vehicles if I see something going on. I'm going to put a stop to it. They'll never do anything for me, though. So I have the camera, and you can watch. They pull back around the building slowly. That's where the loading dock and other doors are. I don't know what they're doing out there. Why would someone do that? There's a stay-at-home order. It's 6:40 at night. The place hasn't been open for a week. Why would somebody do that? You can see all the ideas that are swimming through my head, and they ain't good ideas. Eventually, I had to shut off the camera, but I picked it up later when they came back around again instead of going out that exit over there. Now, keep in mind, if they went out that exit over there, they would just have to turn right, and they would be right at this intersection over in that direction. What they did instead was they turned their vehicle around, and they come out slowly, again, facing me. They come out with their headlights, facing me, and I don't know if they're coming for me or going out the other exit. They go out the other exit, they make a left turn, and then they end up at the exact same intersection they would have been if they just pulled out from the other side. So in other words, instead of taking the easy way that uses less gas to just go to the same place, they took the way that faced me once again. And by that time, my heart was just doing this. I mean, I don't really see the police out here. I thought I would, but I don't know what's going on there, but I don't really see the police throughout this stay-at-home order. I'm at total risk everywhere I go. So my heart's just beating, I'm breathing heavy because I've been stuck sitting in this seat for the last 5 years. And by the way, I've showed you this before, but I'm going to show you now. This seat for the last couple years, it's got this huge bar of metal. You can see there, poking out here. This thing pokes into my side. I have to sit in this car all the time when I'm not working. That's all I do for years. just sitting in this one seat. Not that seat, not the back seat, this seat. And I've got this thing jamming into my side all the time. You probably notice in my videos, I always notice it, where I'm doing this adjustment all the time. My shoulders and things. That's because this thing's poking into my side at all times, among other things. I mean, I'm getting to feel like I did yesterday. It was more than 2 hours later. I don't know when, but I know at least 2 hours later, my heart was still going like this. And I was still, because I didn't know where to go. That's the only place I had to sleep. And I've got some creepy stalker there. Where am I going to sleep? So I drove across town to a totally different place, just a business parking lot. And I started making a video on this. And I ended up with a 5-minute video that just went over the basic essentials showing what this person did. And I went back to Twitter because I thought, well, hey, you know what, I put that tweet to Dakota County earlier. This just confirms exactly what I said in that tweet. So I'm going to add it to it. Well, I get in there, and what happens? I find the tweet on Dakota County's Twitter, but there's no comments, no retweets, even though I retweeted and commented earlier. So I go to my Twitter page, and there it is, my response to them, a retweet of it. That means that Dakota County, within just those 6 hours at that point, had blocked my tweet. Why would they do that? You're seeing right here that everything I said in there was the absolute truth. Demonstrable, documented truth. Why would Dakota County block that tweet? So that Minnesotans and people in Dakota County cannot learn the truth about what's going on. Maybe it's because I was right when I said Dakota County is a hotbed of Astateophobia. Fear, loathing, hatred, contempt, disgust of the homeless. For no other reason than because they don't have a place to live. Which is sick and degenerate. Anybody with any heart and soul, anybody with any humanity would feel compassion for someone when the only thing that makes them different from you is that they have no place to live. But that's not how Dakota County behaves. They block my tweet instead so that nobody can see it. So now I have to make a more than 1 hour long video explaining all of this and put it on YouTube and just put a link on my Twitter. See, this is what they do all the time. You hear me use the phrase off camera all the time. And that's exactly why I use it, because these people make sure everything I'm revealing to you, showing you with video, with documentation, is kept off camera. When I went to the news media all those years and they would just laugh in my face, they would never publicize what's happening to me. Ever. They will not tell the Minnesota people. And I don't think it's even because they care if the Minnesota people find out. The Minnesota people, from what I can tell, get off on that kind of thing. But the thing is, they don't want to be reminded that homeless people exist. It makes them uncomfortable. You know, like this piece of metal. Well, it doesn't make them that uncomfortable, but it makes them uncomfortable. You know, like living in a car for 5 years. Well, it doesn't make them that uncomfortable, but it makes them uncomfortable. These people are monsters in Minnesota. What I'm going to do now then, I've tried making videos about Dakota County Astateophobia many times, going all the way back for probably more than a year. The ones that I have available, there's one from last Thanksgiving, and then there's February 13th was the last time I tried to make this video. I've made it maybe 5 or 6 times, and I'm just not happy with the outcome. What I'm going to do at this point, though, I'm just going to append that one from February 13th to the end of this. It's about an hour long, but there's a lot of good stuff in there you need to know about. That one itself calls up the video from Thanksgiving. You'll see how that works. Alright, I'm going to edit out a few things to try to just take out some redundancies and keep it as short as I possibly can. But with that, I'm going to pass the torch here over onto the video from February 13th, where I talk about Dakota County Astateophobia. Here you go.